Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 da 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 dum bum bum ba da 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 da. Dun 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 bum 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 ba da da dun da da dun da dun 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 da dun da da dun ba da dun 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 da da dun dun bum ba da 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 dun da da dun da 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 dun da da dun 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 dun. I'm reading your comments. It's so great to see everyone. Good evening, my friends. Good evening, Facebook Live people and my mighties. It's wonderful to see you. My name is Joette Calabrese. For those of you who don't know me, we're here every Monday night. It's actually pretty much the same group with a couple new add-ons here and there. And we do one thing and one thing only. We learn homeopathy. I teach you as much as I can in the short amount of time that we've got together every Monday night for approximately 30 minutes. And for those of you who do know me, hi, friends. It's so great to see you. Yeah, hello from Michigan. And happy Thanksgiving to you too. Greetings to those Americans. Greetings to those of Plymouth, Wisconsin is Carla. And New Mexico is Jean. And it's so nice to see everyone. I love it. Hi from Pace, Florida. Well, I'm up north, and in my neck of the woods, my friends, not too far from where I am. How many inches did they get, Perry? No, 100. 100 something inches. I thought that's what it was. I thought it was 78 inches, and then they got another 20 or 30, 20 inches on top snow, on top of the snow that was already there. We have one friend who, of course, was not even going to try to get out there and shovel. I mean, it was just meaningless. You just have to wait for it to go away on its own. He's 5 feet, I don't know, 8 or 9 inches, and it was well over his head. Isn't that fascinating? So it's all around Buffalo. Oh, no, not Buffalo. Oh, yes, Buffalo. Yeah, we heard 6 feet. Yeah, it was about 6 feet, even more in some places. The drifts were higher. It was really pretty amazing. And now it's melting. And now it's kind of blowing away, and it'll be melted by tomorrow. It's supposed to get warmer again. You can't even build a snow fort in that kind of snow because it wasn't packing snow. Now it's become maybe a little more so, but it's not packing. It's a different kind of texture. It doesn't allow for forming. 80, here we go. Donna D'Amato. Hi, Donna. 80 inches of snow in Orchard Park. 80 inches. I know. Orchard Park is a small town just south of Buffalo. I mean, just south. It's really a suburb. It's not really I suppose it's a town, but it's a suburb. Yep. Pretty amazing. It's it's fun. It's fun. The problem is then you bake and then you eat and you put roasts in the oven and then you end up eating and it's too funny. So, all righty, shall we get started? Tonight we're going to talk about more remedies that are specific for that can be used instead of antibiotics. Hi everyone. Hi, Elaine. And so I'm going to talk about one medicine and then how we can alternate that with a second medicine, one that we've already talked about. But this one is a great medicine for two very important acute conditions. It's very specific for urinary tract infections. It's not the first one I choose. I often choose Cantharis 30. If that's not acting, I go to Cantharis 200. I often integrate that with Medorrhinum 200. I like Sarsaparilla. Pulsatilla is a great remedy for urinary tract infections. Apis, there are a lot of them. I usually start with Cantharis, though. But that's not the remedy I'm thinking of tonight. The remedy I'm thinking of tonight is Staphysagria. It's about maybe third or fourth down the line to consider. It's way up there, but it's not the top one. Staphysagria, just the way it sounds, my friends. These medicines are just the way they sound because they're Latin. That's the best part, as far as one of the best parts. How many good parts can there be with homeopathy? It's one of the many. Staphysagria, Staphysagria, Staphysagria. And I like it in a 30 or 200 for urinary tract infections. Now, this is a urinary tract infection if you're still living in the world of conventional, such a nice word. Let's not use conventional, shall we? Synthetic, corporate, backed by government, industry, purchasing their products, you would likely get an antibiotic, right? And it would go, bam, it looks like it's gone. Great, done, thanks. A couple days of an antibiotic and we're call it a day. Bob's your uncle, as they say. But oh, nay. Often it returns. Why? Because antibiotics kill bugs. They don't correct conditions. And so it returns. Sometimes immediately, sometimes not so immediate, sometimes within, a couple months. Oh no, a urinary tract infection again. Everything is right about that except the word again. Because to be honest, my friends, it's not again. It's the same thing. It's just been suppressed for a while. And it's like pushing down on a water balloon. You don't push all the water down. It bulges up over here, but you don't push all the water out. You're just redistributing. And so over time, it returns its symptoms, but it never went away. It's doing its job, multiplying, etc. So, what we love about these medicines is that we can use Cantharis 30 twice a day. If it's not so bad, just go to my blog and take a look at it. I'm not going to go through Cantharis because I really want to talk about Staphysagria. Yes, it is. Is it good for a strep infection? Well, where is that strep infection? The question is not what is the name of the bug. The question is what organ is it affecting? And how is it affecting the organ? That's the way I want you to think, my friends. Chemical-based medicine thinks it's strep B. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is because people often come back and say, I was getting strep infections, but this time the doctor told me it's strep B, making it sound as, more dramatic. What organ? Oh, strep in the throat. Okay, strep throat. We know where to go with that. I've talked about that on my blog. We could talk about that further next week. Or it's a strep, it's vaginal strep. Okay. Now we got to go with a remedy that's specific for vaginitis that has a strep that has an infection. Then we might use strep. We might consider a remedy that's specific for the bladder. That's strep, but we're talking about the organ that it's touching, not the kind of microorganism it is. And this is how I think it'll help you remember this. Homeopathy was begun, was discovered, organized, studied, clinically put together in a very scholarly fashion by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann back in the 1700s, the late 1700s. The microscope was only just discovered around that time, and they really didn't know what to do with it. Now, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann knew that there were microorganisms, but he didn't say that it was a specific microorganism that was causing this or that. Urinary tract infection in 1799, you would use the same medicine depending on the symptoms. The same medicine, homeopathic medicine, in 1799 as you would in 1830, as you would in 1897, as you would in 1910, as you would in 1930, as you would in 1960, as you would in 2001, as you would in 2022. Nothing capricious here. Is that not beautiful? It's what the other kind of thinking is like magpie medicine. Ooh, look, here's a new idea. Oh, here's another new idea. Shiny objects. Oh, let's just keep moving. No, homeopathy has stayed the same. It still acts in the same way. The same remedies, the same potencies, the same frequencies. It's done in the same fashion. So we don't have to come up with new ways of discovering this virus or that virus or this bacteria or that bacteria. Tell me the name of the condition, cystitis. Tell me the name of the condition, urinary tract infection or strep throat or otitis media or conjunctivitis. Now tell me how it's acting. That's how I determine my medicines. That's what I want you to do. Okay? That's what we're looking for. I will tell you that the best diagnostics are those given to you by a conventional medical doctor. They don't try to figure out why or how this could have come about. They just tell you it is a urinary tract infection. And that's what we want to know. Of course, you knew that anyway. Otherwise, you would not have gone in the first place, would you have? Okay. So, Staph aureus, great medicine. It's a medicine that is also particularly good for when women get cystitis, urinary tract infections, from honeymoon cystitis, meaning frequency of relations. So it often happens on the honeymoon or after the honeymoon, where it's all about the activity is too grand for what the woman is accustomed to, and that can cause can cause urinary tract infection, and then the need for Staph aureus. Staph aureus, 30 or 200. I like them both. Okay, so now let's talk about Staph aureus in another way. Now, someone's asking, can Staph aureus, can it be used for an emotional aspect without a UTI? You bet it can. Many of the homeopathic medicines have emotional components. And when you look it up in your Materia Medica, then you're going to read the mentals, the physicals that are specific for each area of the body, the urethra, the throat, the skin, the lungs, etc. And you're going to see how that medicine affects each of those areas, if it does. All righty. So, Harry, Karen, you're jumping ahead. So, it's a great medicine for that. It's also a great medicine for emotional effects. Read up on it. It's a great medicine for ailments from shame, ailments from having been shamed, ailments from losing your job, being beaten down, physically or emotionally. And if after something like that occurs, someone's lost their job and it was embarrassing and pretty noteworthy, And then shortly after they get a urinary tract infection, now we're talking. It's a great medicine, that Staphylococcus aureus, for that. And in that case, I would not bother with a 30 potency, 30C or X. I would use Staphylococcus aureus 200 because it's when we have a strong psychological component to a case, as well as an acute physical component, it often, not always, often calls for a 200 potency. How often would we use it? I don't know, twice a day maybe, right? Twice a day. Could be in a 200, twice a day for a few days. And we should see that the person feels like there's more of a resolution emotionally. Yeah, I got fired from that job, but you know what? I'm going to make lemonade out of those lemons. I'm not saying it's going to be overnight that they're going to come to that, but they'll come to a conclusion that will be a little softer emotionally on their lives. And we will likely uproot that urinary tract infection. Now, yes, abuse. Thank you, Monica. Yep. It's also for children in abusive households. Men in abusive households. Yes, my friends, it's not just men who abuse. Women are abusive too. I'm sorry. I know that's not politically correct, but I know the numbers. I read about this stuff all the time. Men are violent. Women are also violent. And women are more violent with their words, and they're degrading to men. So a man who's been degraded and degraded and degraded and degraded by his wife and then goes into work and he's degraded again and again and again, often we see a need for Staphylococcus aureus. It's not the circumstances that we use only, but we have to consider the circumstances if it is happening time and again. Yeah, it's for abuse. And someone who just keeps taking it and taking it and taking it and taking it. Okay. Can it be given long after the abuse if the person is debilitated by this? Certainly. If there's abuse, if there's a condition, if there's loss, if there is grief, whatever the emotional aspect of it might be, if that is what is the exciting factor, and you can pretty much put your finger on it and say, you know what? It's pretty clear that this is what caused this, or this came shortly after that event. Then that, don't be too theoretical, my friends. I want you to be more clinical and more, I want you to be able to observe and hold on to it for a while and say, let me think about this. Let me make sure that this makes sense. Okay. Now let's talk about what Karen brought up. Yes, Staphylococcus aureus. Staphylococcus aureus in a 200 potency. I don't know that I'd use it in a 30. If it's all I had, I would use it. But Staphylococcus aureus 200C is one of our finest medicines for clean surgical wounds so that they don't get infected. Surgical wounds often can get infected, but it's a surgical wound from a tooth that's extracted, surgical wound from a abdominal surgery, from surgery that is inside the body, so that there might be valves that are removed or added, in which a suture was used. A scalpel was used. That's how we know that it is a clean surgical wound, whether you see it or not. Staphylococcus aureus 200 twice a day after the surgery, as soon as possible after the surgery, is often used to protect from infection. Healing from a C-section. It's absolutely so. What if it's unclear about what brought up the staph infection on my leg? We don't always know the etiology, but if we do know the etiology and it works together with the information we have about the medicine, that's when we use it. So It's not just because there was a surgical wound, although that is great because it will help fuse the wound more rapidly. The surgeon will be very proud of himself. He'll be really happy that look at how beautifully I made that incision. Look, no infection. And look how quickly it's fusing. Meanwhile, you're going to be using Staphylococcus aureus 200C. But it also will protect against infection. And my friends, if an infection has ensued at the surgical site, Staphylococcus aureus 200. Now, for how long after? Think about this for a second. This is medicine. I'm going to start with this, and this is a writer downer, my friends. Homeopathy is medicine. It's not an herb. It's not a vitamin. It's not a supplement. We don't take it just because, well, perhaps we'll take some extra vitamin C because, it's the season. No, it's not the way we use homeopathy. Homeopathy is medicine. We use it for a specific condition. And when the condition shows great improvement or even pretty decent improvement, do we carry on and keep taking the medicine? If you use Midol for menstrual cramps and it works, do you keep taking it long after the menses is complete? No, we do not. When the pain from the menses is relieved from Midol, God, I hate using that as an analogy, but it does make sense. We use it for as long as it's needed. In this person, it might be needed for 3 days. In this person, that surgical wound might be needed for 3 weeks. When we see that what our goal is to remove the infection or to see the surgical wound healing properly and it looks really good, we don't use it any longer. If by halting its use, we see that indeed it's coming back again, what do? We don't say, oh no, the medicine didn't work. No, we say, oh, cool. Use the medicine again. Use the homeopathic again. Start up on that Staphylococcus aureus. So it is up to us, my friends, to observe. This will heighten your observation skills. This will move you along by just observing. Yes. I want to see you thinking and observing and assessing, but mostly observing. So I get lots of people who say to me, I have a baby and he cries after he eats. And I say, okay, so what happened? What else does he do? He cries after eating. Does he pull up his legs? Does he have gas? Does he have a bloated belly? Those are all clues. But I don't know what he's experiencing. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Pain. He's not crying because he's irritable, most likely. It's most likely he's eaten, and eating causes crying. What is that? It's not joy, right? It's pain. So you don't need to ask people what they're experiencing. In fact, I think the less you ask the person you're working with, the better. Because if you ask people, so are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Does this feel better? Would you rather have a blanket? Are your feet cold? Are your hands warm? Do you wish that you could keep still? They will likely answer you according to what they think you want to know. Instead, just observe. If it's your husband and you're sitting across the room from him, open your book and read, and then look up at him. And then open your book again and read some more, and then look up at him. If he moans, it must mean he's in pain. If he moans when he moves, for any movement at all, then you know it's pain worse from movement. Right? Remedy that has pain worse from movement is usually, not always, but usually is bryonia. Or you're observing him. You're not asking questions. Do not do that, my friends. Just observe. Doesn't mean we never ask a question, but do not make that your modus operandi. Your modus operandi is just to pay attention. Now you notice he moans when he gets up, and he walks to the bathroom, and then he stops moaning. And then he sits back down again, and he's quiet. Now, 20 minutes later, he gets up, first movement, ow. He goes into the kitchen and gets himself a drink of water, and the moaning stops. What does that sound like? It sounds like it's worse on first movement and better on limbering up. That's different than bryonia. You see where I'm going with this? You will know, my friends, if you know and you start learning your medicines, which you must know. You must learn at least a good 10, the ones that are the most useful in your household. And then you go to the next 10. Now you got 20 under your belt. Then you go to the next 10. Now you got 30, and that's how you build. Okay. So Staph aureus, great for infections of surgical sites to prevent them, to help the fusing, and to uproot an infection that's already been begun. But I also told you I would tell you about one other medicine with this. Now let's say the infection really ensues. You didn't know to use Staph aureus, or you used it, but you didn't use it frequently enough. Or in the unlikely event that the medicine didn't act. It's pretty unusual for that to happen, especially with Staph aureus in this situation. It didn't act, and in spite of that, there's still an infection. Now, anybody have any ideas? What else are we going to add to this? We're going to stay with Staph aureus, most likely. Yep, Deanne. Yeah, that husband that's going, ow, and gets into the kitchen and then stops saying that, then you're right, it's roost tox. Good job. Keep ourselves as a possibility. Any others? Harry, Mia, Tracy, pyrogenium. You could use hyperars, Monica, but pyrogenium, I would jump to pyrogenium right away. Hyperars, yes, and I would definitely have that right there waiting. But I would use the Staph aureus, the pyrogenium, and you could certainly use hyperars. That's Hypericum 200 arsenicum. So that is, yes. I don't think I would use Hypersulf. It's possible, but I would start with those others, pyrogenium. Why did I choose pyrogenium first? Because a surgical wound, particularly if it's a very deep surgical wound, it goes into the fascia, and it goes into the muscle, and it goes deep, it goes into the organ, the uterus, etc. Pyrogenium is such a powerful medicine to protect against bacteria infections in deep areas of the body that's the first place I think. But one could use Staph aureus 200, pyrogenium 200, as well as hyperars. Yes, all three. You could, if you're worried, if you're certainly very not because you're worried. If you're worried and nothing really bad is happening, then you need to take the remedy that's specific for angst. But if it is a true reality, what's happening here, if it's truly something is really awry, then, and it's looking really serious, sepsis, as someone said, then by all means, you want to go to pyrogenium. Yes. Yes, I had a dear relative just die of sepsis a few months ago. Maddening. I wish I could have been there. But what are you going to do? You can't be in all places at all times. I couldn't be in the hospital. Yep. Own these medicines, my friends. Own them and know them. Don't count on our government. EPA, FDA. I'm sorry. As they say in Italian, let me tell you, there was a time when I used to believe that by approaching government bodies, that we could get things changed. And there was a time when we could do that. It wasn't just my belief system. It really was true. I was very true. I used to do it all the time. I used to work as I was actually an anti-pesticide activist back 35 years ago. And I used to work with city council members and the mayor and the governor, etc., in Buffalo, New York. And it worked. I don't think it's like that anymore. I think we've turned a corner. And I think where you need to spend your time and your money, at least now in this time, is learning, spending your money on your books and your courses, and owning your remedies, and accumulating your medicines. These are different times, my friends. I hate to say it. I wish I didn't have to say this. We're not going to convince any federal agency that they would want to help us. It's not about that. Those days are gone because the federal agencies are owned from stem to stern. It's been like that for at least a few years. It's been like that for a long time, but it became much more evident in the last few years. Much more evident. So, stock your medicine cabinets. Stock your knowledge. Get educated. Get knowledge. Own up to the fact that it's going to be you, my friends, who is going to take care of your family. I know we're over time, but I just have to tell you a quick story. Years ago, I had a homeopath who I liked very much. And I also had a doctor that I liked. She was a home birthing doctor, and she was an Italian immigrant, older woman, wonderful. And my homeopath had taught us that as a classical homeopath in those days, you were taught you should not take a case over the phone. There was no internet at that time. You should not take a case over the phone. It should always be in person. So if you couldn't see your homeopath in person, then you were out of luck. So she decided she was going to leave the state, my homeopath. And meanwhile, just around that time, my beloved doctor, who was 89, passed away. And I freaked. I had 3 small children. What am I supposed to do? Now what? I didn't have someone to depend on. I had a little study group. We were all studying together, which, by the way, I'm going to encourage you, if you're not in a Gateway study group, get in one and get in it now, because those friends who are all over the world will help you. I freaked. But I was forced through the eye of the needle. And while I was going through that eye of the needle, I was anxious, worried. What am I going to do? How am I going to learn this fast enough? So I decided to do something about it. I decided to devote my time to learning how to protect my family using homeopathy. It's the only way. Yep, it's the only way. But now, I had my friends at that time. We were very close. But now I offer study groups at very, very little amounts of money. And you will connect to other people all over the planet, and they will help you. And you don't join one study group, you might want to join 3 different people. Just because you learned something the first time doesn't mean you can't learn it again in a slightly different way. Commit, my friends. We have no choice right now. No one's protecting us but you. You and your family. That's what you've got. Now make your family more extended, and then that will enrich your world. And so with that, I'm going to say good night, everyone. Great to see you all. Love you too, Harry. Thank you. God bless you. Mwah. See you later. Next week.